And basically what we are going to do is we are going to have different functions here to code the snake game. So we are going to have setup, draw, and then we are going to have two separate files. So if you guys added the background in your folder, then you need to also make sure that it's in the sketch. It's in the sketch. So go to add file and add the background in your sketch. So make sure that it's there. And then what we are going to do is we are going to, in the main file, those people who are in the online editor, please
Hello.
read. Yeah, yeah.
Can we add the background in the editor,
We cannot add the
online editor?
we can add the background in the editor with a link, but at the moment, please go ahead with a black background. So we'll just put 000, and in the end, I'll get you a link to the image, and you can add that. But the code is going to be like the same. So if you guys can just follow along, and then in the background, we can deal with that later. So let's start. And what we're going to do now is basically make a snake object first. So in JavaScript, in P5.js, we use the let kind of like basically the keyword to indicate our objects. So what we're going to do is we're going to let s, so that's going to be the snake object, and that's going to be the object which is going to come off from this snake, snake function. So we are going to use that. So let's do that then. So let s is going to let the snake object, then we're going to have let scale. So we are not using the keyword scale here, like scale, because that's already a keyword in P5.js. So we are just going to use scl, and then we're just going to give a random scale number as 40, which is going to basically be the scale of the snake. So if you see here, it is 40 by 40, like 40 pixels by 40 pixels. So it's pretty small. So we are going to use that. So just cross this out. And the guys who are in the online editor, you guys can do the same thing. Either you guys can save the snake.js as something else, or you can just move forward with snake.js. So follow along in the online editor, and you guys can see your results here. So, and make sure that the online editor, yeah, I think that should be fine. If it's better to just save it as something, like you would want to save your work, so that you don't lose it. So make sure you save it, and then just put the scale as 40. And now what we are going to do is we are going to have an object for the food. So just let an object for the food called food, and we are going to go forward with the setup. So now what we're going to do is we are going to first load the background image. So just do bg is equal to load image background. So that's going to load your background. For those guys in the online editor, don't do this step. Just to just to load back load just do something like just do background 0,0,0. So I think that's the code for black. That's going to just give you a black background. So just do that, and that should work. So in order to test that, just run your code and see what works, like what happens, because that should give you a black background. Yeah, so that should be your output. So make sure that you are coding in a black background, and we are going to give you an image later. For those guys who loaded it in the editor, make sure you load the image as background.png, and then we are going to create canvas 1440 by 772. So why we are choosing this is because this is the size of the browser window, and I want my snake game to be the size of the browser window. That's why I choose this measurements. So make sure that you guys do that as well, and we can move forward with running the stuff now. So let's run this and see how it looks. So everybody, let's see how our background is looking. What's the result we are getting? So I think there's some problem there. So let's debug it. Create canvas doesn't have a semicolon. I think it's because of the fact that we have uninitialized variables. So let's just, or maybe we haven't drawn anything. So that's one of the reasons why we're not able to see the background. So before we run it, let's draw it in the draw function. So we are just going to do background and we are going to call BG. So we are just setting up, right? So we need to also make sure that we draw it. So let's do that and then run it. Yeah. So everybody should be having this at the moment. Is everybody having the background ready for those people who are on the editor?
Yes, yes, I have not on it.
Who is this? Who was this? Can you guys please let me know?
Yes, I have done the background thing.
In the editor?
No, I'm using it offline.
And that's the black background, right?
And yeah, actually, I wasn't able to download the image due to
Okay.
bad network connection, so I use my own image,
Okay.
something like that.
Uh, everybody else? Eduardo?
Yeah, everything cool.
So, Mohit?
Just show me the codes.
Yeah, so all you need to do in the editor at the moment is just to load the background. So you don't need to call anything. You just need to put the color there. So as I showed you here, because you're online, please do this. So just change the color to black. That's all you need to do at the moment. So and just load the variables. So like let the snake object, the scale, and the food. So make sure you have these three things. And Sneha, how are you doing? Are you okay? Please, guys, if you have any problems, stop me and let me know. And if everybody has loaded the background, let's move forward. So now what we are going to do is we are going to create the snake, like initialize the snake object as new snake. So we are also going to have a
Hello.
yes,
Can you show the code on the online editor?
yeah. I'm not coding on the online.
Yeah. Do we need to? Yeah, we just have to put the black as 000 only. That now.
No, no, you need to follow along. So that's one thing which you need to do for the background, but you need to
Yeah, I do that.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So just keep
yeah,
following
I
along.
did that.
So the background is black. Yes, that's great. So let's follow through now, and I hope the online editor works properly with us, and it compensates, like it cooperates. So now what we're going to do is we are going to initialize the new snake object here, and we are also going to have a snake function. So that's going to come up later. But let's now decide the frame rate. So I think I discussed this earlier as well. I don't know if we discussed it in Flappy Bird, but frame rate is basically the speed with which the snake is going to move. So, like if I play this and if you see the snake is not that fast, not that slow, it's pretty reasonable. But if I increase the frame rate, it's going to be really fast. So, if I do like probably 20, you guys can see the snake is going to just be super, super fast. Oh, but right now, actually, let me do it in there and show you how it's going to work. So if I play this and I'll show you, the snake is going to be super fast. Like, look at the snake. So we don't want that, right? So we want the speed to be reasonable, and that's why we are going to go forward with a reasonable number, which is 7. And you guys can do that. And then what we're going to do is we are going to have a we are going to have a location for our food, which the snake is going to consume. So we are going to call a pick location function for that. So before I go into the pick location, I want to also, like, you can just call the function here. But before we go into the pick location, let's go and make the snake. So go to new. So go to a new tab and call it snake. Snake. Yeah, just call it snake. Everybody, please do this. On the people who are in the online editor, go to sketch, go to add file, just call it snake. snake.js. So this should add the file there and you should be able to see your snake.js. Everybody on the same page?
Yes.
Great. Mohit, Shreya, Sneha, Ayushi, Aditya, you joined
Yes, yes.
really late. Are you keeping track of what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, I'm getting along.
When did you join?
I just joined around 5 to 7 minutes ago.
Okay, okay. I hope you are following. So make sure that you have p5.js open in processing, and I'm coding using the editor. But if you face any problems, please open the online editor, which I've sent in the chat box, and use that. So all we have done at the moment is just like code with the main
Hello.
file. Yep.
Actually, I've downloaded the p5.js and I've done that background setup. Just can you wait for 2 minutes so that I can copy the code from the editor and just write down it here?
Yeah, sure, sure. Can do that. Then I can go forward and I can do that for
Thank you so
Aditya
much.
also. So Aditya, make sure that you have this much done. For the background, make sure that it's in the folder and you add it in the sketch just like you did for Flappy Bird. So it's the same process. Add it in the folder, add it in the sketch.
Okay.
I'll send you the background. I'll just email the background to you now. So make sure you're using this background so that it'll look pretty and we all are on the same page. If you want to use some other background, you can do that as well. It's all up to you. And please, guys, copy this and make sure that you have a new tab called Snake Open, which we are going to use as the Snake class. And this process is going to be faster than the Flappy Bird. So we hope to finish in about 20 minutes, I guess. So it should be done if everybody is fast, that is. Yeah.
In online editor, it's only showing the background black.
Yeah. So on the in the online editor, we are doing black background at the moment because see, I need to give you guys a link to the image if I want the online editor to work. So I'll do that later, but just do black image for now, and then I can do it later. Okay. And for the people who have the actual editor open, you guys can use the background. But for those guys who are online, we can deal with your background later so that we can have other kind of image for you, like or link or something. We'll do that. But let me know when this is done so that I can move forward. Sneha, I can probably copy paste the code and give it to you in the chat.
Okay. And you guys can continue. I'll catch up.
That's the code of the main file. So you can copy paste it in your editor and we can move forward with that now. So guys, please have a new file called snake open, which is going to be the function which we are going to use. So all we're going to do here is basically go to that, initialize a function which is going to be called snake, and we are going to have some separate like basically we are going to have some variable, speed of the snake, the tail of the snake, and all of that stuff. So go ahead and initialize a function called snake. Make sure you open and close it to close the braces. And now what we're going to do is we are going to initialize certain variables for the snake, like the position along the x-axis, the y-axis, the speed, and all of that stuff. So let's do that now. So why are we using the this dot? So this is also one more thing which is in p5.js is that we use the this operator which refers to itself. So like the way we made the object here, which was the snake object, like the s is basically going to be using all of these variables. So we can use this dot so that s can have all of those properties, like s will have the x, the y, the speed, and all of that stuff which can be used using the this dot operator. So it's going to be this dot x is equal to 0. So we are initializing the positions along x and y axis to be 0 initially. So just do that. Then what you're going to do is initialize the x speed and y speed as 1 and 0. So initially when we start the game, until the key is pressed, if you see here, the x speed, the snake has a speed along the x-axis, but there's no speed along the y-axis until we press like the up or down key. So initially we want the x speed to be 1, and there's no speed along y-axis until key is pressed. So we are going to give those conditions later, but right now what we're going to do is we're going to initialize these values. So make sure you have that. And now we have another variable called total. So now what we're doing here is we are initializing the length of the snake to be 0 initially. So we are going to be initializing values there. So it's okay even if we have like the initial value to be 0. We're going to have values later. So now we are going to probably basic, not tail total, because total is the length and tail is the array. So if you guys noted the way the game works, every time the snake eats the food, the length of the snake is increasing. So that means what is increasing? The tail, right? And the length. So there is a tail of the snake and there is the head of the snake. So initially there is no length, but there is a head of the snake, right? The head is there. And then we need to kind of store the length of the snake in an array so that every time the snake eats the food, the length increases and the snake's length increases by 1. So that's why we are going to store the length of the snake in an array, which is going to be like an empty array. So now let me know, guys, when you have these variables sorted so that I can move forward with the eat function and I can explain all the functions which we're going to use. Everybody just unmute yourself and let me know when this is done.
Yeah, I'm done with this.
Eduardo, Mohit,
Yeah, done.
Ayushi, Shreya, Aditya.
Yes, I'm
Yeah, I got it.
Perfect. Let's move forward. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to move forward to the show function. So before I kind of like show you the update and all of that stuff, I want to actually display the snake and make sure that's working. So let's leave some space for start. And I can unmute yourself actually because I'm listening to myself. This.show. So show is going to be the function which shows the snake. So before we do other stuff, let's move forward and code show function. So the way we initialize functions in P5.js is a bit different because if you can see here, we are doing this.update equals function. This.show equals function. So we are actually using this dot operator to initialize our function. So you're going to do this dot function brackets and then close the bracket there. And then we are going to have stroke, which I told you earlier about. It basically makes a border of the snake, and we are going to have a black border. Then what we are going to do is we are going to give the stroke a weight. So it's going to be like 2 pixels. And what we are going to do is we're going to fill the snake white. Then this comes later, but before that, what I want to do is I want to initialize the shape of the snake. So make sure that is done. That's basically going to have the X location of the snake, the Y location of the snake, and it's going to have 40 pixel by 40 pixel size. So that's the scale. So before I kind of code the tail part, which is this, I just want to make sure this works. So how am I going to test it? I am going to make sure that, okay, so guys, you will get a warning here, missing semicolon. So make sure that you close the function with a semicolon there. So make sure the show function is done. And then we are going to make sure that we are calling the snake here, which we are. And we are going to also make sure that we are calling the s.show function in the draw so that we can kind of show the snake and make sure that it works. So everybody, let me know when you're done with this. And I just want to make sure my snake is working. Yeah, so the snake is there. I can see it. Now what we need to do is animate the snake. So everybody, can you see your snake?
Hey, can you show the code again? Okay.
Yeah.
Online editor, we have to we have already set the background as black.
Yeah.
Then the stroke,
Okay, the stroke is just, yeah, it will not be visible. So maybe you can change it to some other color. But we are going to change the background anyway, so it doesn't matter. The stroke is just an outline for the snake. So it's just to make it look pretty. So you guys can, use green stroke or come up with. So all you need to do to change the stroke color is just to go online, search hex codes of colors for p5.js. Go there, pick a color for yourself, and just put it there. It doesn't matter. We can change it later. All matters is the functionality of the code. Then we can make it look pretty later. So let's first focus on the fact that we have basics done. Then I'm going to make the people who are online better their code a little bit so that they can have like a more pretty version of what they have at the moment. So let's make sure that this is done first. Everybody done? Everybody also make sure that you're calling your s.show function here. Otherwise, it will not work. Is it done? Should I move forward, guys? Eduardo, Shreya, Sneha,
Yes.
Sneha, Shreya, Aditya, Mohit.
Just a minute.
I guess I have some problem with the background, so I'm just fixing it. By the way, my code is done and I can see that snake.
Okay, you can see the thing. So please don't worry about the background. Just use the black background, please. We can worry about it later. It's just an image. So did you add it to the sketch? I think that's what you didn't do. If you maybe forgot to add it.
Yeah, I added to the sketch.
Did you add it to the folder?
Maybe I have, yeah, maybe I have that problem. So I'm just trying to fix it.
That's the problem. So add it to the folder, add it to the file, otherwise it will not work. So make sure that's done. And background can always be amended later. Right now, what matters is the functionality. So understand the logic first, then we can make it look pretty. So let's move forward, guys. Go to your snake class and let's code the other functions now. So now what I'm going to, before I move to the other functions, actually, let's complete the show function. So what you're going to do here is we are going to code the tail. So code a for loop, say for let I equal 0, I less than the length of the tail, I plus plus, open brackets, rectangle, which is going to be the shape of the tail, I, which is basically going to be each time added to the tail, is dot tail y. So if you can see here and note what I'm doing, you would know that I'm actually initializing the position of the tail. So this dot tail ix means that it's the position of the ith value of the tail over the x-axis. Same for y-axis. Now we're going to put the size of the tail, which is scale by scale, which is 40 by 40p. So guys, please make sure you have the parentheses, semicolon, everything on place. Otherwise, you will get errors. So complete your show function this manner. Then we're going to move forward with the other functions which we have, like eat, direction, and all that stuff. So I hope everybody is on the same page now. Sneha, did you fix the issue?
Yes.
Yeah, I did it, but I'm trying to catch up with you right now.
Okay. So where are you at the moment?
The four, from the writing the four code, right?
Okay.
This dot tail I dot I.
How about the other guys? Aditya, Mohit, Shreya, Ayushi, are you all following?
Yeah, yeah, just completing with the for loop and the rest I am completing with that. I'm
Yes.
Aditya.
I'll wait for a minute so that you guys catch up, then I'll move forward with stuff. Can I move forward now, guys?
Wait, wait,
Yeah.
wait, 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 wait.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so I'm going to move forward now. So now we have done the show function. Now what we're going to do is actually we are going to have the eat function. So we know that when the snake moves, he wanted to eat the food, right? So what we're going to do here is we are going to code a eat function just the way we did show. So if you guys are facing problems with the syntax of P5JS, don't worry. It may look a little bit new, but all which is new is basically this part. Function, this dot, and this. All or what that's all which is new, right? And having an index.html file. But the logic is still the same. So we still have an X speed, we have a Y speed, we have a location, everything is still the same. So try and understand the logic rather than getting lost in the syntax. So don't get lost in the syntax, try and understand the logic. So now what we're going to do is we are going to code a eat function in which we are passing an argument called pause. So the pause is basically the position of the food. So now the way when we play this game, right? The position of the food is always randomly changing, right? So that the the snake can kind of move to the food. So that's what we want to achieve here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to code the each function. We're going to pass an argument called pause, and then we are going to open the parentheses, and then we are going to like have basically we're going to close it with semicolon. That's very important, which is also a difference here. And what we're going to do here is we are going to initialize a variable which is going to be called d, which is basically the distance between the head of the snake to the food. So if you see this dot x, this dot y, pause dot x, pause dot y. So what this does is it takes the x position of the snake, x position of the food, y position of snake, y position of food, and it basically it outputs the distance between x of snake and basically the snake and the food. So the head of the snake and the food is going to give the distance between them. So what we're going to do here is we are going to initialize that d as distance, which is another function which is here, which is this dot x, this dot y, pause dot x, pause dot y. So now you're going to also understand how we are getting pause dot x, pause dot y. When I'm going to go forward with the food, I'm going to explain it here again. So don't worry if you're lost here. All we are doing here is understand the logic here. So, like if you play this, you know that each time the snake is touching the food, it's increasing the length of its tail. How is that happening? That's happening because we have a eat function and we are checking for the distance of the head to the food. So we are checking if the snake actually eats the food or not. So that's going to happen with checking the distance, you know. So that's what we want to do here. So just like do this, and then what we are going to do is we are going to check. So that's the condition. If the distance is less than zero point 0.5, then you are going to increment the tail. So that's the condition. So if the distance is so close that the snake actually hits the food, increment the length of the snake. So this dot total plus plus will increment the length of the snake by 1. And it is going to return the fact that the snake ate the food. So this dot eat actually returns a Boolean value, which is going to be the true or false. So how that's going to work is basically it's going to return true or false whenever snake eats the value. So it's going to be true, else return false. That means snake did not eat the food. Close it. Make sure you don't have any yellow red lines because that means you didn't close things properly. So make sure you close things properly, everything's neat. Then we can move forward with other stuff. So let me know when this is done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Everyone done? Great. So now we are going to move forward with the direction of the snake. So you guys know that basically the snake is moving up and down when we are pressing the up and down arrow key. So over here, I'm actually pressing keys to make the snake move. So how is that happening? That's happening because we have a direction function for that, which will take input as x and y, which is going to be actually the keys. So, you know, it's going to give the speed of the x and y depending on what we are going to pass it. So just code the function as this dot dir equals function taking argument x comma y, which is going to basically just make sure you have a space and an indent, close it with semicolon. Then we are going to basically we're going to initialize that as I think I did a mistake there, this dot. So make
Hey,
sure.
Subi, why you have placed that semicolon after the curly braces? Is it a part of syntax or?
Yes, so like over here also you saw that the functions are being closed by semicolon. So that is just the way p5.js works. So that is the syntax here because we have this dot eat equals function. So that is like a p5.js syntax. So we need to have that here. So we need to
Okay.
close every function with semicolon. So just make sure that you do that. And yeah, so make sure that you close the functions with semicolon, and then we are going to initialize the speeds of the snake with what we are passing to it so that we can get that we can basically make the snake move with the same speed. So this dot so make sure that you do the same for x and y, and then you have this kind of a thing which is going to be the direction. So I think this was pretty straightforward. So we can move with the other function, which is basically going to be the death function. So you guys know that, you know, like the snake cannot be alive forever. It will probably bump into itself or it will probably bump into the walls. So what is the condition for it to die? It will probably bump into itself. Maybe the head and the tail are colliding, or probably it's colliding in the wall. So we need to write those conditions out and make sure that the snake's length becomes original when all these things happen. So we are going to have a function called death for that. Make sure you close the function with semicolon again. And then we are going to have a for loop inside of it, which is basically going to find the position of the tail. Okay, let pause, which is basically going to be the position of the tail. It is going to take the ith position of the value which is inside the tail, and then we are going to basically calculate the distance between the ith, like basically the tail and the head. So like the last position of tail and the head, we are going to calculate the distance between that. So that's going to be taste, just the way we did for food. It's going to be a similar way. And so make sure you have this done, and then we are going to have a condition just the way we had for the food. So it's going to be if d is less than 1, you are going to log it. So basically what we're going to do here is we are going to initialize the total length of the snake as 0. That means it's going to start again. And we are going to initialize the array of the tail as blank. So it's going to start over if it collides with itself or if it collides with the wall. So if it collides with the wall, then also the head and the tail are going to kind of like, meet. So that's why we have this one condition which is going to kind of, so also we are going to log it into the console. So what this means is it's going to print here starting over. So console.log, this is just for us. So this is not going to print in the UI, it's just going to print in the console. This dot total equals 0. This dot tail is equal to a blank array. So we are going to make sure that that's happening. And I hope everybody has this much done. So once you guys have this done, let me know. I have a missing semicolon somewhere. Where is the missing semicolon? Is there anybody else getting this?
No, I didn't get this.
Why am I getting this? It's a very weird thing. I did the same thing and now I'm not getting this, but I was getting this earlier. I don't know. Like I hate semicolons. That's why.
See, it's done. Like it's not getting the error.
I'm not getting the error, but yeah, I did literally the same thing. I just erased this and put the semicolon again, and now I don't have the error. So I don't know. But yeah, let's everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
Can you scroll the page down? I just try and complete the rect function under the for loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody is on the same page. Let's now do the update function, which is going to complete the snake class for us. So we have made sure that we have speed for the snake. We make sure that we draw the snake. Now, as you all know, that once snake eats the food, everything needs to be updated. Its tail needs to be updated. Its location needs to be updated. So there has to be a method for that, right? So we are going to have a method for it, which is going to update stuff. So this.update equals function, which is not going to take any arguments. And we are just going to call it. Make sure I close it with semicolon, and then we're going to put stuff in it. So firstly, updating the tail. So that's really, really important. So we are going to have stuff for it. So it's just going to be another for loop because it's a list, like it's array, sorry. So we are just literally going until the end of the array. So if you guys know that this is how we reach the end, it has to be either less than equal to the length or is the less than this dot tail dot length minus one, and it will be until the very end. So we are going to do this, and then we are going to initialize the ith value of the tail to the ith. Basically, we are going to increment the length and make sure that the end is getting incremented each time we do this in the update function. So why we are doing this is each time the snake eats the food, each time true value is returned from the eat, we are going to update it. So this is only going to be called when the snake will eat the food, because then only we need to change the speed, we need to change everything about it, right? So now there has to be a condition to increment the total, like basically increment the length, right? So if the total is greater than one, that means if the total value of the length of the snake is more than one, then we are going to add something in the tail, right? So that's how we're going to do here. If this dot total is greater than one, okay, then equal to one, because that's when the total was initially zero. That means initially there was no value of the tail, it was just the head. That's why the total value was zero. But now when the total becomes more, because if you see we did total plus plus when the snake eats the food, so everything is linked to the snake eating the food. So this dot update will only work when the snake eats the food. So this dot total, that means if the total value is more than one, that means if the snake eat the food, then you would just kind of have a tail value. So this dot tail, the total minus one, that means the ith value, the last value, is becoming a vector with new locations. So this dot x, this dot y, don't get confused with vector, it's just giving a new location to the end of the snake, and it's going to make sure that the tail has that location. So what we are trying to do here is basically we are updating the location of the tail of the snake and making sure that there is a new location to the tail of the snake, and that is getting updated here. So everybody, I hope they are on the same page. And if there's any question, guys, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask. Now what we're going to do is we are going to initialize, basically reinitialize the speeds of the snake, and we are also going to constrain the snake to the canvas, so that if the snake hits like the wall or something, it just kind of like goes back to the same thing. So the snake is constricted to that like area. So firstly, the speed and the location is getting updated here. I hope everybody is following. Anyone having any difficulties?
Can you just scroll right
Just a,
this dot tail part in the if statement?
yeah,
I've just missed.
just a closing bracket and with semicolon. This is just constraining the position of the snake. Guys, if you're worried about constraint, it just constrains the position to the width of the canvas so that it doesn't height and width of the canvas so that it doesn't go out of bounds. Everybody done? I expect everybody to be done until the update function so that we can move forward. And I'll wait a couple of minutes for you guys to finish this. We can then move forward with the main file and complete the game. Is everybody done?
Yeah, just a minute, please.
Just a moment. Just a moment.
Sure.
You are done.
Shreya, are you following?
Yes,
Ayushi, are you following?
Hello.
Yes.
Can you scroll the if part? If this total greater than one,
Yeah,
scroll right.
that's just the end of
Okay,
it,
okay,
right? That's the end.
okay.
That's how you end the statement in P5JS. It's always with semicolon. So if there's a semicolon, that means it's the end of the statement. Can I move
yeah, it's
on,
done.
Can
guys?
you can you just scroll down? Just I think I just missed a sentence in this dot show function. Yeah, just a moment.
Everybody done?
Actually, I'm getting an error.
Where?
This dot update equals function, and in the for statement, for let I equals 0,
What's the
I
error?
less than, it's showing expected bracket and instead saw I.
Yeah, that means you must have not closed the bracket somewhere.
Okay.
Did you close it?
Yeah, I closed it.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you must have not closed. Make sure that there's a semicolon here, there's a bracket closing here, there is this bracket which is closing here. I have to make sure that everything is being closed. So first check that, and the easiest way to check it is to just hover over this and see if it's being closed everywhere or not. This needs to be closed. Can you just recheck that once? Did it work?
No.
Can you copy and paste your code and send it in the chat? Just the update function.
Okay, just give me a second because I'm using it by phone.
Oh, oh yeah. So you can. Oh yes, like if you're using it by phone, you can probably email the code to me, like just the part. Just copy paste it, send it to me in the email.
Okay, okay.
We can just scroll down. Just like I'm getting an error in the show function. Just a moment.
What's
Can
the
I
error?
scroll down? Uh, like it is showing that expected an identifier and instead saw
So
dot operator. Saw dot operator.
what line is it?
Uh,
Can you see it here and tell me what line it is? It has to be something with like what you're doing with like this dot, or you're probably not putting the dot, or you're probably not closing it, or something like that. Can you please copy and paste your code and send it in chat?
yeah, sure. Yeah.
Can you please accept my request? I'm joining it by my laptop.
I have a meeting right now that I couldn't reschedule. Sorry, guys. I'll finish the game later. Okay, no worries. And yeah, we can probably just move forward. It's fine. And Sneha, you can please let me know. Like, you can just copy paste your code and send it here so that I can look at it and make sure that everyone's on the same page. I may have to switch off my video because I don't have battery. Can you guys please make
I
that?
sent it.
Yeah, because you're not
Okay.
closing the function
For
anyway. Like,
it's instead of for, it's written FOT.
oh no.
Yeah, thanks. It's done.
Yeah, yeah, like I mean that's pretty straightforward. Like,
Can you just a moment please scroll down for the
can you
show
please
function
send your
once again?
function for like, can you
Yeah.
send your show code, please, Aditya? Can you send it in the chat here? I'll kind of see what the
I,
problem.
I got I got like I didn't complete the for statement.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Make
Just
sure that
just
the
show
for
me. Yeah.
like this should be very straightforward because this is same with all programming languages. So I hope you guys know this, like for loop, how for loops work, how if statements
No,
work.
I just missed that part of I plus plus.
Okay, okay. Yeah, like I mean that has to be pretty straightforward as well because for has three conditions. So uh I mean just make sure guys like this is the same in all languages so you know it. So if you don't know something, just ask. It's okay to ask something, but make sure that the basics are clear because that's what we are here for. And if you guys have any problems with that, please let me know so that I can say it in the meeting. And if everybody's done with this file, let's move forward but back to the main file where we need to do a lot of things. We need to code the food, we need to update stuff. So please go back. And now what we're going to do is we are going to code the pick location function. So I hope everyone is with me now and I can move forward.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. When I'm opening the running the code, like my snake is not moving.
Obviously, it will not move because we haven't coded that part yet. So don't run it at the
Okay.
moment. So how will it move if you're not passing anything to it, right? So
Okay.
first let's code the location of the food and then we will make the snake move. So snake will only move when we call those functions. So we have coded it yet, but we have to call it in the main. So first call the pick location function, which is going to basically initialize the location of the food. So let's do that first. So in the setup function, go and like call pick location, which we are going to call. So just do that, and then we're going to call like function pick location. And then you're going to say, okay, let the columns and let the rows. So let the columns, basically, it's going to be the x-axis of the, sorry, like the y-axis of the food. So it is going to take like floor. So like floor, basically what it does, it takes like the integer which is less than or equal to the value which you're passing here. So it's going to take the width. Going to take out the floor for that, and the same we are going to do with the row of the food. So this is just so we can initialize a random position for the food. So, you know, like that's the red thing. So it's going to get a random position each time the snake eats the food. This time we are going to create a vector. So if you guys saw in the snake file, right, I was always kind of like passing a position with the vector. So why am I getting these values now? Why is there a missing semicolon? Why this language is pretty weird. So make sure that you create a vector and you are going to pass, we are going to pass like a random value here. So that's why we are going to take the floor of the random values which we are passing. It's a bit complicated, like because we need to pass like the floor random column and then the floor random row. So we're going to do that now. So do floor. Make sure there are three braces which are closing here because obviously there are many braces we have here. This is one, this is two. So there has to be three braces here. I hope everybody is following. Next, we are going to put a scale to the food. So what this does is we are going to use a mult function which will multiply the x and y of the food and give it a scale. So we are going to have the same values for the dimensions. So we are just going to give that. So it's going to be 40 by 40, just like the snake. Is everybody on the same page? Everybody done with pick location so that we can move forward with the draw?
I did it.
Everybody make sure that it's 3 braces here, please. Otherwise, it's going to give an error. Okay, so now I think everybody has done the pick location. So what we are going to do here is we are going to make sure everything is drawn and everything is being called over here. So now we already have the background. We already are showing the snake. So after the background, go and kind of like do this. Write a statement which will basically which will make sure that the snake is eating the food. So if you remember, the eat function was actually a boolean, like it was returning a boolean value. So we are just going to check here if the snake is eating the food. That means if this value is returning a true value, then we are going to call pick location, because then we would need to initialize a random location for the food. So call the pick location function. And then we are going to basically call the death function to make sure that the snake is not bumping into each other or something like it's still in the safe state. So make sure that you call the death function. Then what we're going to do is we are going to update the tail of the function, tail of the snake. So call update. You're already calling show. The show is fine. And then what we're going to do is I think I'm getting an error because semicolon as usual. And we are going to make the food. So this is actually to draw the food. So we are not having a separate function. We're just drawing the food in this. So just leave a line and just say stroke. It's going to have a black stroke. It's going to have like a weight of the stroke, which is 2. Then we are going to basically fill the food with like a reddish tint, which is going to be 255, 0, and 100. Then we are going to basically give it a shape, which is going to be rectangle, just like the way we had it for the snake. So this completes the draw function. So if all the guys can just make sure that everybody has this much done. Also, I'm going to highlight another point which I mentioned there. Over here, you can see the functions are not being closed by semicolon. And the reason behind that is that over here, we are using this dot operator. So please make sure that you understand this. If we are using this dot inside a function, we need to close it with semicolon, else we don't need to do that. So make sure that the draw function is done so that we can move forward with this last part of the game. Then the game will be done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Everybody? Everybody else? Everybody else is done? Mohit, Ashreya, and all?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's move forward with the function key pressed, which actually moves the snake. So how what we're going to do is, if you guys remember here, we are actually passing the key press somewhere to the...
One thing, where we have to close the function with the semicolon.
Yeah, so when I was talking about that, it was basically when we have a separate function which we are using here, right? Which is basically acting like a class. So we would have to close the function here with semicolon because we are using a reference object here, which is this dot. So that's why we close it here inside this function, because we would be actually calling an object if you're they we are calling a object called s, right? So that's why we need to kind of do that. So we need to close it with semicolon over here, but not in our main file. So let's move forward and code the key pressed, but I just want to confirm one thing. Yeah, so let's code key press now. So just say function key pressed. This will basically move the snake. And this is a function inside p5.js. I mean, it could be basically, we could have used the default one like the way we did it for Flappy Bird, but since we want to actually move the snake in all directions, we have to code a customized key press function, which we are doing right now. So what we're going to use is we're going to use key code. So we could have done this for Flappy Bird, but I think it makes more sense to do it for this because we actually need both the up and down arrows. So we are going to move the snake accordingly for this. So how we are going to do that is using the dir function. So basically we are going to call that. So s.dir would basically go in the negative. Basically, like it will have a negative y, positive x, if you know what I mean. Like it's going to go up. So basically it's going to go like that. So it's going to go towards that direction. If you press up, it's going to go down, plus 1. And then if it's going to go up, right arrow means like it's going here, positive, negative. So if you know like the coordinates, it's going to be that way. So now what we're going to do is else if, same like all the keyword values. So if you guys just literally follow along for all the arrows, you would have the snake moving. I hope everybody has finished this by now. Please make sure that you guys followed and everything is working. And I'll also give you guys a minute to just make sure everything is like aligned and you're not getting any errors. So let me know when you're done. Is everybody done?
Just a moment.
Let me just run this and see what I get first. Let me just make sure that my code is not buggy. Yeah, works. No, wait, the key press thing is not working, I guess. There is some problem there. Let me make sure that I'm doing right things.
Like you mentioned, the spelling of down is wrong.
Ah,
It's just a kind of typo.
yeah, yeah, that's great. Okay, I hope everybody else is on the same page as well.
Can you just run your code right now?
So it should move up, down if you press like up, down keys, and it should eat your food when you go to the head and like do this. So basically, if the head touches the food, it should eat the food, and if it touches the like this thing, it should just go back to normal length, and that's how it works. So
I
now,
cannot see my snake.
were you able to see the snake when you called the show function?
Yeah, I just saw there right now, but I'm
You
not
haven't
able
called
to
the
see.
snake yet, then that means
What?
you must have not called the snake in the draw function. That means, can you go to your draw function?
Yeah, I have done that. S dot death, S dot update, S dot show. Up to that, I'm complete.
Can you copy paste your code or you probably share your screen?
Okay, okay.
Everybody else is everybody else able to run stuff?
I send it there.
No, can you paste the whole file, because I just want to make sure that
Excuse me, Surbi.
yeah.
Like when I'm running the snake, and when it is eating the food, it's just disappearing from the screen. My snake.
Oh, okay. Maybe you are not updating it right. Like, are you calling the death function before you are updating it? Maybe the order is wrong. You just need to make sure that the order is right. And you need to
I
Yeah,
send
I
it
followed the
there.
order.
huh?
I wrote the death of show. Like I
Can
was saying, I
so
followed the order. That it was first death, update, and then show.
are you okay now? Does it work? I don't understand what the I is there the problem is still happening, or can you let me
The
know?
same problem. The same problem is happening.
Snake is disappearing. Are your keys right? Snake, when it eats the food, it is disappearing. So maybe you have done problems in the death function or something. Check your death function and check your update function.
Okay.
Just copy paste the code in the chat box and probably share. Okay, so who was able to kind of get it working? Just let me know that first. Is there anybody who got it working? Shreya, Mohit, Ayushi? No one?
Should I share my screen?
Yeah, I think you can share your screen. In the meantime, can you please let me know Shreya, Aditya, and Shreya, Mohit, and Ayushi if you guys are also
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, sure.
Are you? I can't hear you, Ayushi. If you're trying to speak, you can probably put your things in the chat box and I would know. Mohit, Shreya,
I'm just using two other devices, so I just have sent you an email. Can you please check it about the code?
guys, Mohit and Shreya, you guys are on mute if you're trying to say anything. And Ayushi, I can't hear you. Mine is working, but only when the food is in the center. What does that mean? Not able to see the snake. Okay, so not able to see the snake. Let's deal with that issue first. Mohit, do you want to say anything? I can't hear you. Can you put it in the chat box, please? At corner, snake is not eating the food. Maybe because you are not putting it proper. Like, see, the thing is, look at the condition when the snake is eating the food. It's not going to be always. It's going to be only if the head value is going to match the snake, the food. So you have to make sure that the head value matches the snake. Like, it cannot like eat the food from the tail or like any other value. Like, it has to match the snakes, basically, like it has to match the foods. The head is going to match the food, basically, then only the snake will eat the food. So it has to be like this, if you know what I mean. Try that and just let me know if that works. And the guys who are not able to see the snake, I'll just ask them with. So Sneha, can you share your screen?
Yeah, okay.
Aditi, does that work? I did that work. Can you see it? Yeah, can you mute yourself? Yeah. Ayushi, can you please let me know if that worked for you? Just try and play with it a little bit and see if you're able to get the hang of it, because it has to always match the head to the food and not the tail. So then only the snake will eat the food. So Sneha, just present your screen and we can have a look. Okay. So yes, it's working fine. Well done, Ayushi. You did it. Mohit and all those guys. Mohit, you didn't say anything, so I don't know what's happening with you.
In
But
the online editor, it's only showing the black screen whenever I play. Nothing's.
okay, so you guys are not able to see the snake.
Yeah.
Uh, let S snake scale foods. The frame rate is fine. Pick location. Can you scroll down? Date. Yeah, perfect. Scroll down. Down, down. Go to your snake file. Scroll down a little bit, just a little bit. They start eat. Return true, false. That's perfect. Scroll down. That function for I. That's fine. That's fine. Starting over till. Okay, wait. This start total. Are you initializing it to O or 0? Initialize this dot total as 0. That's the problem. Go down now. So whenever you're coding, don't code illogically. Understand what you're doing. I mean, we cannot initialize an integer to a string, right? Like, I mean, why would we need to do that? So go down now. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now run it. Nothing. Okay, just go back. Go back to your thing. Maybe there is another error. I keep scrolling like wait just -1 equal to plus into sk. Okay, constraint. I think that's the whole problem because it's not constraint, it's constraint. So remove the t there, and it's. I think many people are facing this. Yeah. So now run it. Yes. So it was just a couple of spelling mistakes and stuff. And guys, please amend the background frame size to your browser window size. So if you go to your specs there, like of your laptop, and Google your browser window size, just make the canvas size your browser window size. But everything else works for you, Sneha. Well done, Ayushi. Now let me deal with Shreya. Shreya, are you also facing the same problems, or is there some other problem? Can you share your screen?
Should I stop sharing?
Yeah.
I think my frame size is.
What?
Let me see. Yeah, can you show the code for snake?
Can you show your code? Maybe I can debug it for you.
Actually, I'm using it with my phone and
Okay, okay.
it's on my laptop.
Okay, I'll just share it. Can anybody, Aditya, okay, let's listen to Aditya's first because then he can share his screen.
Actually,
Aditya, can
it's
you share your-
necessary that the background frame size should be same as window size.
yeah, that's up to you. That will just
Oh,
make it look pretty.
okay.
Yeah,
Should I stop sharing?
yeah, yeah. You please stop sharing. Aditya can share, then we can come to Shreya as well, and then Mohit also. And Aditya, can you share it? Shreya, can you mute yourself because I'll be able to hear myself in the background then? Okay, that I can already see the problem. This dot tail, you haven't closed it with semicolon there. That is one of the problems. If you see the yellow line, that's because you didn't close it with semicolon. Please add semicolon there. And yeah, that's the problem. Probably run it. Yes, it works. No, no, it doesn't work. Go back. Okay, go to your snake. Okay, snake is fine. This dot eat function pause. Okay, go to your no, go to the snake class. Yeah, or scroll down little bit. Just scroll like a Sneha, just the way she did it. Yeah, this dot depth, tail length plus plus. Go down, go down, go down. Starting over these dots here. That's okay. Update, update. Okay, go down. Show me the update function and show me the show function. Okay, that looks okay. This dot show. Can you go down? It's working now. Perfect, Shreya. Can you go to your snake main file, Aditya? Okay, go up. They start eat food. Okay, we go up. Random columns, random mul. That's all. That all looks okay to me. I don't know what the problem could be. Let me just make sure that the initialization of the locations is correct. All looks okay to me though. Go up, up. Like basically go to yeah. You're calling the functions right. Everything looks okay. Can you go to the draw a little bit, scroll down? Scroll down. I think it's fine there. No, it has to be an else if because it's a condition. So it has to be with if. I think that's okay. Can you run it again? Just let me see where how the error is happening. That is pretty weird. Okay, go to your code. Go to processing. Yeah. Uh, Go to snake, the function, the other file. Can you go to the other file? I would see that you. No, but I want to know what the problem is in yours. Okay. If you would like to do that, I can do that for you. Yeah. I mean, I don't have any issues. Okay, I can send you the code later. Okay, that's fine. Everybody else, Mohit, do you still have problems?
Yeah,
What can you
yeah,
show me yours?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you can stop sharing. Aditya, okay. Guys, what we can also do is the people who are, I think everybody is not facing any problems anymore except for Aditya. I'm not able to understand what the problem could be, but I'll send you the code, Aditya, and then probably that makes sense. And Mohit, just share it. And then other people, if you want to deal with the background, you can attend the next meeting, which is going to happen next week. And we can just brush everything up. And I can also give you guys the certificates. So maybe if you guys could probably put this on GitHub, we can also like kind of, deal with GitHub issues in the next meeting. So you guys are free to go, those people who have already done it, and we can meet next week and we can push everything to git and everything and make sure that everything is kind of like done. So Mohit, you can just share your screen and I can help you with that.
My screen visible.
Yes. Okay, PGG, I can already see the error, I guess. When you're doing background hash, why are you doing that? You have to pass it in the function, right? So why are you doing this? Do it like as the normal. Do background brackets and then pass 0 comma 0 comma 0. Pass that in the background. Say 0 comma 0 comma 0. Add the bracket there. No, this might not. Like I think it should be 0 comma 0 comma 0. Just
Zero.
three zeros with commas in them. Yes. Yeah. Run it and see if it works. Hopefully it should work. Remove the bg is equal to hash. Why have you put it in the I think you have messed the order as well. Like, no, I think it's fine. Yeah. Draw function, that should be okay. Yes. Don't, no need for that. No, don't put it in the setup, put it in the draw.
Where?
Delete that from the setup function and delete the background from setup and put it in the draw function.
Raw function.
Yes. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just run it. There might be some other errors as well. So okay, go down, go down. Correct. Okay, keep press. All good. Okay, go to the snake.js. Go up, 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 up. Okay. First of all, indent. Can you repeat yourself? There's loud noise. This dot x equals 0. Indent that first. Go up. Indent that this dot x. The first line which you have, yeah, indent. Just press tab. Yes. So we have it. I think you're not closing a bracket somewhere. That's one problem as well. So make sure that's closed. And Aditya, do you want to say something? We will be pushing on GitHub. So what are we going to have on the next session? We're just going to push it on GitHub and make sure everything is done. And I'm just going to give the certificates in the next section. But I can also email it to you guys. So if you have done the game, you're happy with it, you can just make sure it's on GitHub. And it's just going to be like a final meeting next week. Yes. So make sure it's closed. There has to be something which is not closed. That's why you're getting that red thing. So please make sure all the brackets are closed. You would just have to kind of hover over the brackets and make sure it's closed. So all of them. Even the death one, I think that one is not closed. That's the problem. Yes, so now it should work. There might be some other errors also. Let's go up. This dot eat. That's all good. Go to down. Down. Death function looks good. Go down, down, down. Update. Update also looks fine to me. This dot show. It looks good to me. Can you go to the sketch? Wait, why do you have so many files? That's the reason. So Mohit, the thing is that you cannot have so many. No, 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 don't delete that. Don't delete that. Go to the snake underscore v. Control A, like select all. Control A. Control A, Control C.
Yeah.
Go to the sketch.js. Control A. Delete. And paste. And run. And delete the snake underscore v. Make sure that's saved though.
Delete.
Yeah, delete. Make sure that save all this stuff. Save. And now run. It seems that what's the error? Can you read the error piece which is in the console?
p5.js is
62. Can you go on that?
line 62.
Go on the, yeah. Go on this. Probably it's in the snake. Yeah, so maybe it's because, the browser size. It's maybe because of that. So go to your sketch.js. In your create canvas, just change the size to go up. Change the size to 400 by 400. 400 by 400. Run. Wait, it seems that you may have accidentally written snake instead of scale online. Okay, go on 62 line on snake.js. I think you have made a mistake there. Huh? I don't understand why this is. Okay, can you it seems that you have accidentally written snake instead of scale. Please correct it to scale if you reach p5.js. I don't know. Okay, what we can do, Mohit, you can come to the next session and we can deal with the problem then. And
Okay.
it's probably because of some online editor problems. I'll fix the problem by next time, and I'll run my code on the online editor and make sure that it works. I'm sorry that it couldn't work for you today, but you've coded the
Okay.
game properly, so it's fine. We can like deal with the problems next time. And all those people who are like having problems, come next week. We are going to solve all problems. We are going to push it to GitHub, and we are going to make sure everything's done and dusted. And we're going to have a lot of speaker series as well next week, so just make sure that you guys attend that. And I hope you guys kind of like got most of it done.